Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I thought I would mix up my Facebook Lives a bit by changing the scenery. So I'm outside for today's. Um, so it's been really interesting, the topic that I've been talking about this week, which is respect, because I've been getting very interesting comments and responses to it because I believe it might be touching a nerve with some people. So I kind of want to share some thoughts about that. And what I'm hearing from some people is sort of like this feeling of, well, yes, I do respect my partner, my husband in this case. So maybe I should back up. If you haven't been keeping up with this topic, I talked earlier this week about one of the unconscious connection killers called respect, which is, it's actually disrespect, where without really being aware of it, we, as women in particular, will say things to our husbands, correct the way they drive, just different sort of subtle things that I am trying to create some awareness around, because I don't think we realize that when we do these little things, that it's actually showing our husbands that we don't respect them. Or another way to look at it is that's the way that they hear it. So I think that's the important part about this that I didn't get into very deeply earlier in the week, which is that it's not that these things are indicating that we don't respect them, but it's the message that they receive from them, which can be two totally different things, right? So I think the examples I gave were like correcting their driving, which that's one of my, I'm really guilty of that. I do that a lot. And I think the other example I used was when you're in like a disagreement about something and you feel the need to continue to try to prove that you're right. And that's a challenging situation, right? Because you're already disagreeing about something, but that strong need that I think a lot of independent, strong women have to prove we're right and never back down from our opinions on things actually doesn't serve us very well in our relationships with our partner, because it doesn't really matter anymore in that situation who's right or wrong, but because we are so insistent upon trying to prove to them that we are right and trying to persuade them that they are wrong, the way that that comes across to them is that we don't respect their opinion. Whether we intend for that to be the message or not, that's what they receive from it. So I think that's what's really important about this topic of respect, is not really asking yourself, do I respect him? But asking yourself, how might he be receiving some of these things? Because we don't think obviously the same way that men do, right? We're built differently. We just are. And so I think it's more of an awareness of knowing what men prefer to receive from their wives. And when I say prefer, it's not just, yeah, well, I like that better, right? It's about their need to feel that they are the head of the household, that they are the man in the relationship. And I know I'm very aware that this is going to touch on some sensitive spots for some people. And, just to give a little background, I was raised by a single mom who was an extreme feminist. And I learned nothing but you take care of yourself financially, you can be just as successful as a man in business. I learned nothing but that growing up. And I'm not saying that those things haven't served me well in some aspects of my life, because they have. But over time, as a married woman, I have learned that those foundational concepts, those things that I was raised to believe were just basics, don't serve me well at all in my marriage. And they actually can create disconnection, because that's just not what makes a man feel confident. It's not what makes him feel that, he is being treated the way that he believes he should be treated. And I know that when I say some of these things, people just they can't believe I'm saying it. But trust me when I say that these things are coming from someone who was raised that way, the way I described, right? And someone who has experimented, if you will, with different things in my relationship, because I realized that there were things that I was doing and things that I was saying that were creating such a disconnection between us, and I didn't really understand where they were coming from. And disrespect, whether I labeled it that or not at the time when I realized some of these things that I was doing, I think it's a huge factor. And so I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts about it. Definitely love to hear from people who are on the side of, are you crazy? and what are you trying to tell us? Are you trying to tell us we need to be subservient and we shouldn't have opinions? And clearly that is not what I am saying. But there is definitely a balance, I think, that we can create between the things that that we maybe hold dear to us as women, and the things that our significant others need in order to feel, that they are being treated, that the way that they like to be treated as a man. So I would love to hear more from everybody. Talk to you soon.